plenty to look forward to. Pakistan winning that last test match. A chance for South Africa to redeem themselves and come back strongly. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to. And yeah, alongside with me, I've got Bazid Khan and Daryl Cullinan. Daryl, nice little break for the players, a chance for them to regroup. But more importantly, the news coming from the South African camp. Quinton de Kock has been relieved of his captaincy. I mean, thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's been a spectacular flop. Now, we had the history of du Plessis' time had come to an end. This was a temporary appointment. Why that? Surely you should recognise who the leader would be for the next 5 years at least. Markram's always been the guy touted to do that. And I would have given him the opportunity, irrespective of his form. Now we've had the announcement. Surely it could have waited till after this test match, even a month later. South Africa have no test match cricket coming up. And, I would have just thought in managing it, allow the man, and he's going to feel embarrassed by it. Let's be honest. Anyone would feel it. It's a big talking point at the moment. Just allow him to leave gracefully and respectfully.
Baz, I mean, the timing has been rather questionable. It's the middle of the series. I mean, what are your thoughts with regards to this particular announcement and the timing as well?
Well, I'll go back to his first statement where once you put him as captain, why temporary? Why do you want to have a short cap or sort of put him there for a couple of series and then go towards the next captain? I don't think there'll be a captain who's not played Test cricket. So the captain will come from the core of the players playing right now. So why not just stick with that captain? That's an interesting one to me. The news from there was he's reluctant to be captain. He wasn't sure of being captain, and this is Test match cricket. You can't have someone leader of your pack who's not sure of whether he wants to be there, whether he wants to captain the side or not.
Well, he is still the captain of the side at this point of time, Baz, and he has been the talking point as such before this test match. So let's hear his thoughts. Mike Hazeman caught up with him earlier.
Mark, thanks for your time. What was the announcement yesterday regarding the captaincy?
Well, no real announcement. I was asked in a press conference regarding Quinny. Quinny is always going to be a stand-in. We did chat to him about going forward with this young test team as well. There was no one who really put their hand up. Quinny was he was a captain in the T20 side as well as the one-day side as well. We did say to him it's a temporary basis. We've seen the strain that it's had on him. Being a test captain, there's a lot of extra responsibility, which has been quite tough on Quinny. But he was prepared to do the job, so I put, you can sort of raise his cap on that. I've seen the strain that it's had on him as an individual. It's tough being in these bubbles. Quinny's an outdoor sort of person as well, so that in itself has been tough on him. And we just, when asked the question, I just said, now that we're not playing against Australia, we've got a bit of time to have a look and see if someone has put their hand up and maybe release him from that role and just get him back to playing the good brand of cricket that we sort of know Quinny can. It's always tough if you're not scoring runs. The game gets highlighted, especially when you are a captain and people start asking questions. And I think that's a bit unfair of him, especially having taken it on a temporary basis. But we've got a bit of time now, so we can sort that out.
Yeah, Mark Boucher saying over there that was a temporary solution, sort of a stopgap solution, so to speak. So, again, plenty to ponder over for South Africa. But coming to Pakistan, Baz, that win must have given them a lot of confidence. But one of the highlights of the game in the previous test match was actually the fielding of Pakistan. Some brilliant catches being taken. And overall, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic performance. They needed that performance after New Zealand series. I think fielding Imran Butt coming into the side, he's a gun fielder. He's superb in the outfield too. And overall, you saw that from ball one, Pakistan, the intensity was high and they were on the game throughout. And on top of that, we saw this fielding. But on top of that, for the spinners, the short leg and the sealing it off, it really came into play. I think that was also a clencher for Pakistan with the spinners, creating the opportunity, but every single opportunity getting accepted.
Well, it was initially set up all by Fawad Alam, Daryl. I'm sure, he was quite impressive. But it's a fairy tale story, coming back after 10 years, scoring a century in New Zealand and then following it up by scoring a century in National Stadium, Karachi.
and it's at home. You know, I couldn't help thinking that this whole Pakistan were rejuvenated by playing at home. You could just see the spirit, the attitude. But for him, yes, it is. It's a wonderful story. We've enjoyed the story, and all credit to him. I think this just shows the value of experience. He's got to know his game. He understands his game. It's rather unorthodox, and I can't help thinking that he was tailor-made to play well here. But Pakistan came out the second morning. They were under pressure, 33 for 4, and it needed 2-3 guys to show real good old-fashioned guts. And to me, that was what was so characteristic of his innings.
Well, I'm not going to be over-ambitious, but let's see if we can make it 3-3. Who knows? I mean, that story can, that
Don't
narrative,
tempt fate, yeah.
that fairy tale story can sort of continue. But we'll take a short break. When we are back, we'll bring you the toss and the pitch report. Well, traditionally, the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, the pitch here has favoured the seamers. But let's see what it's going to be doing today. Let's head over to Baz and Waz for the pitch report.
It's now to Rawalpindi, and it's nice and fresh, cold morning here. What we want is seam and bounce and grass on the pitch. man next to me, he wants grass on the pitch, but I don't think there's any grass. What's happening here?
Yeah, there is no grass. Obviously, there's a little bit of grass that's rolled in. You can see this. It's rock hard. That's what I've noticed. You go down, and if you put your palm on the pitch, it definitely moisture in there. So it means with the new ball baz, there'll be a bit of carry and there'll be a bit of swing. It'll be difficult for a captain to decide what to do if you win the toss here.
Yeah, stats suggest that you win the toss and bowl first. First-class cricket always bowl first. There's a lot more grass in there. What I suspect is this pitch might be slightly drier than usual.
Probably is, but still it's rock hard and overcast conditions all day today. You know, clouds are up there in the sky, and I think the new ball will carry. It will trouble the batsmen, especially first 20 overs from either side.
So you put you on the spot. You win the toss. What do you do?
If I have to win this test match, I'm one up in the series. I'll win the toss. I'll bat. I'll probably say okay to my openers, see off the new ball and get some runs on the board. And average score on this pitch is batting first, 299, 300.
So you win the toss and you bat first. That's what Wasim Akram is saying. Also, you don't do away with the scarf because it's beautiful and it'll keep you warm.
Yeah, so Waz is saying that win the toss and you should bat first, Darrell. I mean, interesting. What do you make of the pitch?
Well, I'm not going to argue with the Waz too much. But I think it's going to be a tough call because it sounds as if there's everything in there. Potentially a bit of turn, bit of carry, movement on the first morning's play. So the only danger when it comes to trying to prepare something to turn, and let's not forget Pakistan took the 14 out of the 20 wickets in the first test were taken with spin. The danger is that if it ends up being too dry, it may assist the quicker bowlers as the match goes on, because if it breaks up, you get that variable bounce. So it's going to be a very interesting call to make, and I won't be surprised if the call's made on the back of what has traditionally happened at this venue.
Changes expected quickly? Any spinners? Additional spinners for South Africa?
I don't know. There's always there's been the concern around Maharaj, but I think if anything, they need to bolster their batting lineup. So in that regard, I do expect one or two changes.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting in that sense, Darrell, whether they play that additional spinner. They've also got that option of playing an all-rounder. So plenty of options for them, actually. And even in terms of Pakistan, I think with their attack, what we're hearing is that they want to stick to the two spinners because they were so successful in that last test match. So it'll be interesting to see how things go, but we're actually ready with the toss. So Ramiz Raja is ready with the two captains out there. So let's head over to him.
It's just a little bit nippy this morning here in Rawalpindi, and well, we're ready with the toss. The two captains are out here, match referee included. I think Babar has the coin. Here we go.
Tails. Tail is the call, and it is set.
It's come down as
Pakistan has won the toss.
Okay, right. So Pakistan have won the toss. Babar, क्या करेंगे?
रमेश भाई बैटिंग करेंगे हम.
यहाँ पे जनरल रूल यही है कि टॉस जीत के पहले बैटिंग करें तो रिजल्ट शायद आपके अगेंस्ट भी जा सकते हैं. आप पहले तो बताएं इस पिच को कैसा रीड कर रहे हैं और ये जो स्टार्ट है ये आपको कुछ वरी करता है या नहीं?
नहीं रमेश भाई, विकेट तो काफ़ी ड्राई लग रही है और कोशिश करेंगे कि अच्छा स्टार्ट दें, और क्योंकि पार्टनरशिप बहुत ज़रूरी है अर्ली ऑन, और जितना यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं हम करें.
कुछ चेंजेस किया आपने?
नहीं रमेश भाई, सेम टीम है.
सो इस वक्त क्या थॉट रन कर रही है ड्रेसिंग रूम में, क्योंकि आप 1-0 अप हैं, उस लीड को बरकरार करना आपका प्रेफरेंस होगी या 2-0 के साथ ये सीरीज एंड करेंगे?
बिल्कुल रमेश भाई, पॉजिटिव है हम. पिछले मैच से काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंस आया और इस मैच में भी वैसे खेलेंगे जिस हमने लास्ट मैच में खेला था, कि कभी किसी टाइम पे रिलैक्स नहीं होना, जो चीज़ हाथ में है उसको फिनिश करके आए.
कप्तानी एंजॉय कर रहे हैं?
जी बिल्कुल, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
ऑल द बेस्ट.
थैंक यू.
Right, so Pakistan are batting first. Your initial thoughts of the track?
I think it's a bit dry, to be honest. Obviously, there's a lot of platelets. I think it will get a little bit up and down the more goes into the game. So that's kind of what we assessed.
Got to ask you about the captaincy thing. This would be your last gig as South African skipper. You want to sort of have a memorable time of it and do as best as you can.
Yeah, sure. I guess a win would be nice. It would be a great way to finish off this tour.
Yeah, I mean, talk us through the pressure of being 1-0 down. I mean, do you want to be desperate or do you want to be intelligent about the entire thing?
I think a bit of both. It would do us good. I think if we show our hunger out here and we come out and we play to the ability we know we can, I think we'll be right.
Any team changes?
We got one. VM Mulder comes in for Lungi Ngidi.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Right, news at the toss is that Pakistan have won the toss and decided to bat.
Yeah, I think they've been listening to Waz, who's joined us now in the studio, because Pakistan has won the toss and they decided to bat first. Traditionally, the choice has been bowling first, Waz, but I think you had a good look at the pitch. Looks like a good pitch for batting, or?
It looks very dry to me. Usually Pindi pitch early on first day, bit of bounce, bit of swing with the new ball. It will swing with the new ball. Carry might not be enough. It appears very hard, but when you go closer, you can see it's really, really dry pitch. So it will turn eventually by later on today or maybe earlier, I'm not so sure. But it'll definitely turn. It's weird kind of look again on this pitch. It's not a typical Rawalpindi pitch, that's for sure.
Still,
good toss to win.
Good toss to win, as Waz says, but still an opportunity for the seamers, the South African seamers, to really rattle through the batting lineup early on and sort of dominate first up, right?
Well, they've got to make that new ball talk. They've always got the danger of batting last year. But Mulder's inclusion doesn't surprise me. I'd consider him a batting all-rounder. If I had to think of another cricketer, he reminds me of Azhar Mahmood. That sort of style of cricketer.
So his pace is similar, kind of 130, 135?
Yes, very consistent. He's known for that.
Okay.
An attacking sort of player with the bat. So I think all of South Africa would agree it's a good selection.
Well, selection-wise, Waz, Pakistan has gone unchanged.
Yeah,
Can't just have finger spinners here. We need someone, and that's what Shamsi has been capable of getting wickets.
All right, I think we're going to take a short breather, and when we are back, much more to discuss, so don't go anywhere. Yeah, well, there's one guy who's had a phenomenal Test debut. I mean, it's been quite a journey for him when he started in first class, the way he's come up through the ranks. Definitely a great debut for him. So it's time to hear from the man himself, Noman Ali.
Noman Ali, shoulder of the bat, in Pakistan going bang, 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 bang.
Beautifully held, nice catch by the skipper.
ड्रीम कम ट्रू, जितने अरसे से माशाल्लाह मेहनत कर रहा था और पिछले 2-3 सीज़न से बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा था। जब आपको कैप मिली तो मेरे ख्याल से वो आपको अल्लाह ताला की तरफ से मेहनत का सिला मिला और बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी थी मुझे उस टाइम। मेरी जो पैदाइश है वो सांगड़ के एक छोटे से गांव खिपरो से है। तो वालिद साहब की जॉब की वजह से तकरीबन 14 साल या 15 साल का था जब मैं तो हैदराबाद हम लोग शिफ्ट हुए। वसीम अकरम मैं उनका मतलब बहुत बड़ा फ़ैन हूँ। तो उनका मैच था स्टेडियम के अंदर, हैदराबाद स्टेडियम के अंदर। उस मैच के अंदर जब मैं गया तो वहाँ स्टेडियम के अंदर जब वो मैच देखा तो वहाँ से मुझे काफ़ी शौक़ हुआ। फिर मैंने अपने मामू से बात की, उन्होंने मुझे स्टेडियम के अंदर मतलब बुलाया, प्रैक्टिस का उन्होंने मुझे इजाज़त दी। फिर अंडर 19 खेला हैदराबाद से। फिर इसी तरह अल्लाह ताला ने साथ दिया और अब आज आपके सामने। जो मेरी पहली विकेट थी डी कॉक की, वो मेरे लिए उनकी अगेंस्ट टीम के कप्तान भी थे साउथ अफ्रीका के, और वो मेरे ख्याल से मेरी फेवरेट थी। पिछले जो 2 साल से जो हमारी डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट हो रही थी वो भी आपकी बहुत ही एक अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड था और ओनली 6 टीम्स थी और उसके अंदर आप मतलब अच्छी टीम्स के अंदर आपके मुकाबले भी अच्छी टीमों से थे। तो उसमें बस कोशिश यही थी कि अच्छा उसमें परफॉर्म कर सकें और उसके लिए काफ़ी हार्ड वर्क किया था। जितना अच्छा स्टार्ट हुआ है, कोशिश ये है कि जो हमारा नेक्स्ट मैच है इसके अंदर इसी तरह कंसिस्टेंट परफॉर्म करें और सीरीज़ जीतें और फिर आइंदा इंशाल्लाह और ज़्यादा मेहनत करेंगे और जितना हो सका पाकिस्तान के लिए अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सकें।
Yeah, there's always nice to know, when you see debutants do well. And, he spoke about how his inspiration is Wasim Akram. I mean, Waz, you've inspired generations and generations. And, this guy there, he's talking about the influence you've had. It's great to see somebody who's worked hard in first-class cricket to come through and perform at an international level.
Years and years and years he has been performing, Noman, and I'm so happy for him. And it shows, especially in this day and age, in Pakistani selection, especially in this particular selection, his selection, a couple of more boys in the squad, that first-class cricket matters. If you perform regularly, you'll get picked up for Pakistan. And he showed that how consistent he was in the Karachi Test on his debut, 5 wickets, and he said in his interview that hard work in the end prevails. Doesn't matter what you do in life.
Speaking of consistency, Hazy, I mean, if anything, South Africa has not been consistent with their batting. I mean, you look at some of the totals that they've come up with over the years. That 300 mark has been really missing for them.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation. It really is. I mean, to think that the South African side that you played against in years gone by, I mean, the fact that they've only scored 300 since 2009.
African cricket I remember, and now obviously it's changed a lot. In fact, that's what exactly Mikey is saying, that they have been struggling with totals as well in first day.
So this 300 mark is suddenly becoming a bit of a bogey mark as well. So it's sort of, I'm sure it's playing in the back of their mind a little bit as well, which is not ideal. But gee, it's an amazing stat really if you think about it. And they've only done it a couple of times in the subcontinent since 2015. So I mean that's in itself is quite bizarre.
I mean, what would you attribute that to? I mean, why is this the case? Is it because they haven't been able to find a stable opening pair, but they've had a rather consistent.
Do we
side.
have enough time? Because it's a long story.
Yeah, it's a long story. I mean, some of the fine players of yesteryear are now gone. But I mean, that's what happens. That's part of the game, and any sport happens, and you've got to make sure those guys are replaced by other blokes who come through and are hungry. I mean, if you think about the numbers that Dean Elgar puts up, I mean, he's one of the leading opening batsmen in the world and has been for a long time. The fact that South Africa's got that mainstay batsman, there should be other guys to bat around him. Then you've got Faf du Plessis, who's played a long time, a career average in the mid-40s. There's another one. You've got a couple of really key guys that they can sort of say, right, these guys are my bankers. Right, other blokes, you've got to do the job and make sure you get there. Quinton de Kock. Now, he's been in poor form of late, but he is a fine player, batting number 5. He's got to nail that spot down and make it work.
But apart from poor form, but I've noticed he's one of my favourite players in shorter format, Quinton de Kock, no doubt, in T20 format, in one day. But in Pakistan, in this test series, being a skipper, it seems to me he's not enjoying it out there. His body language is not there. I can understand it's a temporary job he's doing as a skipper, but once you're a skipper, he was temporary skipper, you got to put up this happy face for your troops.
I think it was a big surprise also when he said he'd take it on, because he's not. I mean, look, I'm a firm believer, and I don't know what your views are. I'm a firm believer that leaders are born and not made, and I think they tried to make him into a test skipper. The one-day stuff, I mean, that sort of evolves a bit, and you can play, and I mean, he's so talented, and there have been many talented players that haven't been able to captain teams.
So if a person doesn't want to captain the side, why ask him to do it? Correct. In general?
I guess the bottom line was there was no one else doing the right thing and scoring runs and really grabbing that opportunity. Okay. They could have gone Dean Elgar, but he captained once for South Africa, lost a test match at Lords when Faf's wife had a baby, and he said he wasn't keen anymore to do it. But then suddenly he said he was, so that's a little bit
It's
different.
a big man job.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Markram's the guy.
Okay, you
Markram's
think future?
Yeah, Markram's the guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Interesting, because that's what Daryl Cullinan was also saying. Was
okay, I'll change then. Oh no, sorry, joking.
Arguing disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing, Hazy. Was from a Pakistan perspective, quickly. Their openers as well, you know, that's also been a struggle for Pakistan. They've had their share of woes, but Imran Bar has an opportunity now. You know, he's scored some runs.
Yeah, in his defence, it was a difficult pitch in Karachi against the quality fast bowling, Imran, especially when you're facing a new ball. But I think one positive thing came out of Karachi test, the slip cordon fielding by Imran Butt. He took one catch early on, first dig, incredible, and then a couple of catches around the bat. So that shows the fielder we were looking for in slip cordon, we found one. And hopefully, if there is one slip, instead of Yasser, he will be standing there.
Well, definitely. We've seen some great slip catching from Pakistan. Thank you so much for your thoughts, gentlemen. It's going to be a great first session. Lots to look forward to. And we're going to be taking a short break. When we do come back, we'll be taking you into the comms box for all the live action. So don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Pakistan and South Africa head north to the seat of government, with the hosts having made capital gains in Karachi in the first test. Fawad Alam was the star of the show, his player of the match winning knock in the first innings, a triumph of resilience and self-belief. And then it was he who scored the winning runs.
Fawad Alam cuts it through the offside and fittingly gets Pakistan over the line. A resounding test match victory for Pakistan.
But just as important to the home team's fortunes was the display of Yasir Shah and debutant Noman Ali, who between them grabbed 14 wickets in the match. And Pakistan will be hoping that the spin twins can wreak as much destruction in the Twin Cities.
Noman Ali, debut test match, he has 5.
For South Africa, outplayed in all 3 departments of the game, it's back to the drawing board. But never doubt the heart of a lion. Can South Africa roar once more? Or will Pakistan taste success yet again?
It was a terrific test match at Karachi. Can they repeat the performance? Pakistan versus South Africa. And the action will be live from Pindi Cricket Stadium in Rawalpindi. It is just a touch nippy if you compare Karachi weather to Rawalpindi Islamabad weather. But conditions are set fair, and so we'll have play and we'll have plenty of action. South Africa in need of a win. Right, we're ready with the pitch report. It's Wasim Akram and Bazid Khan.
It's now to Rawalpindi, and it's nice and fresh, cold morning here. What we want is seam and bounce and grass on the pitch. Man next to me, he wants grass on the pitch, but I don't think there's any grass. What's happening here?
Yeah, there is no grass. Obviously, there's a little bit of grass that's rolled in. You can see this. It's rock hard. That's what I've noticed. You go down, and if you put your palm on the pitch, it definitely moisture in there. So it means with the new ball baz, there'll be a bit of carry and there'll be a bit of swing. It'll be difficult for a captain to decide what to do if you win the toss here.
Yeah, stats suggest that you win the toss and bowl first. First-class cricket always bowl first. There's a lot more grass in there. What I suspect is this pitch might be slightly drier than usual.
Probably is, but still it's rock hard and overcast conditions all day today. You know, clouds are up there in the sky, and I think the new ball will carry. It will trouble the batsmen, especially first 20 overs from either side.
So you put you on the spot. You win the toss. What do you do?
If I have to win this test match, I'm 1 up in the series. I'll win the toss. I'll bat. I'll probably say okay to my openers, see off the new ball and get some runs on the board. And average score on this pitch is batting first, 299, 300.
So you win the toss and you bat first. That's what Wasim Akram is saying. Also, you don't do away with the scarf because it's beautiful and it'll keep you warm.
So at the toss, it was Pakistan who won it and opted to bat. Batting so it's important that they make use of the conditions, because the first hour is going to be critical. Winning the toss doesn't necessarily make you win the test match. Faf du Plessis, the local dance, the Bhangra move from Faf du Plessis. Right, we'll take a break and come back with live action. Welcome back to Pindi Cricket Stadium, where the news is that South Africans will field. And this is Quinton de Kock's last huddle as a skipper as well. Daryl, what's happening?
Yeah, it's been a spectacular flop. Let's be honest about it. You've got to ask questions. Why the appointment? If it was a temporary one, it was post du Plessis. It was time to move on with a new captain, a new era. And there was speculation about who would possibly be that captain. Van der Dussen in picture there was a consideration. So was Elgar. And there Markram, the one that was always touted to be the next captain. Maybe he doesn't want it. But for me, Test cricket's not an experiment. You need a leader. You need someone who's going to take you forward. So, and you can't blame the man. Mark Boucher and Graham Smith need to be called in and put on the spot. You made the call. What was your thinking? Please explain it to us. But the announcement, I cannot believe the time of the announcement. Surely you could have waited another week. You could have waited another month. South Africa don't have Test cricket to come until October. Just allow the man to leave with a bit of grace and respect, because he's got to be feeling it. Who would want to be in this situation, knowing that it's your last one? It's a huge topic around the world, and this is how you start the match. I think it may just free him up. Wasim spoke in the build-up to the match that he feels he hasn't been enjoying his cricket, and we just may see a de Kock come out and play a special innings or have a good day or just end it all with a victory.
So he could be a Quinton de Kock now and relax.
That's when he plays his best. You know, he's a free-spirited guy. I've never met him. I'm just like everybody. I follow what one reads, but I've always felt his game. To me, he was never the guy to be appointed. He loves his fishing. I don't think he's a man that likes to practice much. And he goes out there, he's an instinctive sort of player. Gives me the impression that you don't want his thinking to get in his way. Just allow him to do what he does best. Play cricket, be a match winner, and entertain us. Because when he gets going, Ramis, you have to admit it, he's a wonderful player to watch.
Imran Butt, can he be wonderful in this innings? Second test match for him. Pakistan desperately looking for a settled opening pair. All good teams in world cricket seem to have a good solid opening pair because that relaxes the middle order. All eyes will be on Rabada, whether he gets some sideways movement. It's a dry pitch, so there'll be value for your leg cutters and off cutters later on in this test. But this has to be a spirited reply from South Africa. They're 1-0 down, and a good opening burst from fabulous Rabada can set them free, can set them working away at Pakistan, dominate them. Three slips and a gully. Mid-wicket, mid-on. One at mid-off, one at point. It's a regular field. Aleem Dar and Ehsan Raza are the two umps for this test. Got a beautiful action, some movement away. Outswinger from Rabada, and I think all eyes will be on bounce and carry that this pitch may provide with the new ball.
I'm expecting South Africa to bounce back. They're not a 11 that will just lie down. I'm sure a few tough words would have been said in the build-up to this test match.
Oh, smash through the offside. What a start. Glorious way to begin your knock.
A beautiful away swing and half volley. It was asking for that shot. And that's how you do it. I think Rabada will be encouraged by that. He's got a bit of swing, he's got three slips, he's got a gully. We know he's a class act. Seldom doesn't strike with the new ball.
Oh, there was another invite this time. He allows it to go past wider of the stumps.
Now, Rami's a lot of chat about the pitch. Now, a reminder that 4 of the last 5 test matches have been won by the side batting second. But have you seen a pitch like this in recent times?
No, this is for South Africa, to take care of South Africa. A lot of plates, solar plates. During the PSL, this pitch had a lot of bounce for paces. So it's not that the soil doesn't allow it to have a bit of extra bounce and zip, but I think this is keeping in mind South Africa as an opposition, so dominate them once again with a bit of spin and lack of pace.
The 14 of the 20 test wickets that fell in the first test, that was of the South African innings, was taken by spin. So you can understand that train of thought. But often in trying to doctor a wicket, it can backfire on you. And if the pitch ends up being very dry and cracking up slightly, it can bring the quicks into play. Variable bounce.
Edge and goes through the gap. 3 slips in a gully and still somehow he managed to find the gap. This is what Rabada wanted, for the batsman really to go hard through the offside. Flying edge, not taken. 8 without a wicket.
Well, Rabada asking him to have a little drive. It could so easily have gone to hand. So an eventful first over.
Thank you. Right arm over.
Abid Ali marking his guard. That average is still impressive, even though he's not had a good time of it opening the innings of late for Pakistan. Imran Butt just a little bit anxious to get his innings rolling, and that can happen. Bit of inexperience, you've determined as well, so you want to get off to a bit of a flyer to relax the nerves. Nortje is running in.
It's going to be interesting to see how Nortje bowls here. At times in the first test match, a bit short or too full. But his big strength is pace. And it would be good to see him use that pace. Run in hard, hit the deck hard. He's not a line-length bowler. He's got to get Pakistan batsmen hopping a little bit here. He's got a hard new ball in his hand. Interesting, no gully. South Africa now have 4 slips. I wonder if that was the intention or it had something to do with Rabada's first over and the ball going between the gully and the 3rd slip.
Must be hard for quick fast bowlers to just follow a disciplined line outside the off stump, because you want to be experimental, because you can be experimental with the extra bit of zip that you have up your sleeve. But here it's going to be that line around that off stump with the new ball.
Luckily you and I never had that problem or something to think about. Now I must ask you, Ramiz, a lot of chat about South Africa. Can they come back? But can Pakistan keep that momentum going? They've in recent times battled come off a disappointing New Zealand tour. So often that's a bigger challenge, is to keep those winning ways going and not become complacent or believe that you've got it better of the opposition.
I think the last thing they want is a draw mentality. Look to draw the game, because how many times we've seen a team struggle if they go out there with that kind of a mindset. Oh, close. It's low bounce, missing the stumps down the leg side. Got to be careful. You got to look to play with the bat, and the footwork has got to be better than that. Stuck at the crease, that front foot going nowhere.
In amongst the pace and the short balls, this is a good example of that follow-up length. Nortje's got to look to hit. That in-between length. Should I be forward? Should I be back? Probably going down. Or maybe an inside edge.
It is very, very important for any opener to not play from the crease, and so that front foot going nowhere. The ball keeping low, and so that bat going way ahead of the front pad.
Overball.
8 without a wicket. Look at that front foot going nowhere. Misreading, misjudging the length. Almost on the walk, so not very well established, the crease. Little things that you've got to look after when you're playing the new ball. Four slips now instead of 3 slips in a gully. Oh, playing across the line once again, narrowly missing the stumps. Breaking his wrist, trying to work it through mid-wicket. They've been good so far with the DRS review. South Africa, surprise, surprise.
We're only in the second over of the day, Ramiz. Third over. My apologies. Big appeal, but that is going down. He's got to look to play a little bit straighter here. And that's as far as it went. And Rabada immediately says that's an inside edge. Well, there's a bit of something here for South Africa. I don't think it'll be too much different, Ramis, to the first test match. We heard Wasim immediately, first commentary stint, talk about looking to hit those stumps. Maybe with a bit of carry, yeah, they may change their line a little bit. But the odd short ball. And that thought for the batsman, that short ball at good pace from these two, it's always there at the back of your mind. It's those follow-up lengths which have to be looked after.
I guess the next big question for South African cricket is who to make the skipper of the team in Test cricket. Is he in line for captaincy?
Well, as Mike Hazeman said in the build-up, that he did it once and said never again, but when du Plessis had come to the end of his time, he threw his hat back in the ring again. Suddenly was talking about, well, if he's asked, he would consider it. Van der Dussen was a thought. He's at first slip there alongside de Kock. You see, Markram was always the guy spoken about. He's the only South African captain, albeit under 19, to win a World Cup, but he's just always had that leadership aura about him. And I think that's what South Africa got to look to now. He had a good start, Markram, and then had some form issues. I think it had more to do with he wasn't too sure if he was in the side, what was happening. But to me, it's the time to make a call and say, right, for the next 3 to 5 years, this is your team. We're going to back you. I think he has the respect of his peers. He's always enjoyed that. The role, you've got to want it, don't you, Ramis? I mean, you've captained as well. You've got to want to do it. Or, I don't know what the story is with du Plessis. Perhaps it's time to go back to him. 8 without loss.
Pakistan remaining unchanged in this test match. South Africa making one change. Ngidi is missing from the playing 11. Mulder is in. Good all-round cricketer.
Yeah, I think he'll bat at 7 ahead of Linda. Had to get that in. Thanks, Ramis. George Linda. Now, Faf, as we know, was captain. So I don't know what transpired at the time when he was no longer captain. He'd mentioned that his time was up, but it's so difficult with a young captain when you've got the ex-captain in the 11. And Faf has always been there and thereabouts, offering his advice. He stands in the slip cordon. You've got captains alongside you. So I've often got to look at the ex-captain and define his role now going forward. He's vocal. You see it in the team talks. He's speaking quite often. But the best thing that South Africa can do now is just focus on their cricket, put in a good performance, see if they can square the series. And I'll say it again, I won't be surprised if they bounce back here. And I'm not too convinced that Pakistan are going to show that same consistent form. But it's early days. A lot to look out for and take into consideration in this match. Oh, that's a good one. Beautiful carry.
They are powerhouse at home, South Africa. I mean, I was there for that Sri Lanka series. They won it hands down 2-0. But last time Sri Lankans were out there, they won against South Africa. The first subcontinent side really to win a series in South Africa. So it was a big deal. Pakistan were blown away. They don't travel well to subcontinent for sure.
I think we must always be mindful that we said it before the first test match for all of these guys. It's their first test cricket experience in this part of the world. So the best you can do is learn from it. You'll be back. I'm sure most of them will be back at some stage.
Wider of the stumps, different angle this time from Nokia. Nicely played. Anything on the pads, Pakistan be quite happy to work it through square leg or mid-wicket. 9 without a wicket. Abid Ali on 1 and Imran Butt playing his second test match on 8. Rabada is going to feature prominently for South Africa with the new ball if they are to make inroads and make an impression. Ball is doing a little bit. It's not a straight gun barrel kind of pitch. There you see once again it's swing away from the stumps. That's a nice line and nice length from Rabada. He's changed gear.
On the back of his 200th wicket in the first test match. Now, the impressive thing from Rabada from day one in his test career for a young fast bowler was the way that he found that control. It just came so naturally to him. And what's noticeable here is that he's just getting it that touch fuller. With a bit of swing and it's there, you don't really want to be banging it in.
You've got to bowl like a subcontinent bowler, and that's the adaptability we're talking about. That's the change of gear we're talking about. And learning from your last game's experience and putting it right in the next one. It's got to be intelligent to pick 200 wickets. Obviously, he flourishes on most tracks, different conditions, but this is a stiff challenge for him.
I'm glad you make the point, because you can't consider yourself a complete fast bowler or even a complete batsman, but more probably particularly a bowler when you've come here and been successful. I talk about, Rami's India included, the subcontinent as a whole, because it is very different. And Sean Pollock always spoke about you need to bowl more overs, you need to be more patient, you need to put in the hard yards. And if they're honest with themselves, things generally tend to come easy in South Africa on our sort of wickets. But if you leave here, tour after tour, and you've done well, I think generally you're held in more respect. You're considered more of a complete bowler.
That's lucky. Missed the keeper. He was in two minds, clearly. Wanted to leave it big inside edge and fall.
Rabada, yeah, just showing the value of being consistent. Constantly asking the batsman, where's your stump? What am I going to play? What am I going to leave? On this occasion, he's had a moment, then pulled out of it. This is what it does to you when you have someone who's just constantly there. When's the short ball perhaps coming? Am I moving my feet? Should I be playing? Should I be leaving?
Got a debut test match 100 here in Pindi Stadium, Abid Ali. So he's got fond memories of the place, and that can give you a lot of confidence as a result. Back-to-back hundreds, in fact, for Abid Ali. So 100 on debut, then got another one the next game. It's nicely played. It's 13 without a wicket. Pakistan looking for a bit of a partnership at the top of the order. Butt on 8, Abid Ali on 5. There has been a loud thinking in the Pakistan dressing room of promoting Azhar Ali as an opener and Babar at number 3. Let's see whether they continue with that thought process or not.
Bit of carry, I'm sure Lungi Ngidi must be watching thinking, man, I'd love to have had a bowl here. I think he's more a victim of South Africa looking to strengthen their batting lineup with Mulder in the playing 11 today.
He covers the stumps, Abid Ali. Sorry, Imran Butt. And so some of the openers here in Pakistan would take a middle guard because that'll allow them to play on both sides of the pitch. And on a surface like this, you can do that. He's almost on that off-stump area, off-stump line. So from that angle, if the wicket is not doing a lot, you can work the ball away from the stumps, from that off-stump line towards leg side. So it's a typical press back and across for a subcontinent batsman. That's gone through the slips area for 4. Played it down with soft hands. You've got to give him credit. Didn't go hard at this one. And good pace from Nokia. 145.
Well, at this sort of pace, you're not always going to get it right. So those are welcome runs. As you say, Rameez, there was no real push at it. If you're not always getting it right, then it's not too badly played. It's got to be tempting to come a bit straighter.
Yeah, with that guard, that middle stump or leg and middle stump guard, and he shuffles across towards his off stump, surely in swinging delivery, set him up with a couple of out swingers and look for that straighter line. But there is value if you stand on that middle stump guard, that you can work the ball away from the stumps towards the leg side, and so open up areas for yourself.
You can always hear that extra pace, the way the ball, the sound makes when it meets the middle of the bat. Does that hit the car, win the car?
Hit the car and you get a fine.
Send it to the panel beater and you're paying for it.
6 overs done, 17 without a wicket. It's an important phase for both sides. Bowling with the new ball is Rabada and Nokia. They've got pace and a lot of class in Pakistan, looking to survive this new ball spell. Young, inexperienced opening pair for Pakistan. Partnership of 17. Don't bowl there.
We spoke about it a lot in the first test match. Can we expect a bit of reverse swing? It's not as dry as square than what we saw in Karachi. The outfield it's fairly lush, although it's a brown sort of colour. What's your call?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the pitch, it looks dry, it looks flaky. A lot of plates, a lot of cracks, so there is possibility. Come the midday, we'll get the ball to reverse. The other thing with that back and across movement and covering the set of stumps is that you're closer to the line of that outswinger. So you're negating the effect of four slips. Because you're nearer the ball, you're in a good position to leave the ball, also to play that cover drive. Pitch is not a menacing one, it's not pacey, so you're able to play the straighter line well as well. So a lot of advantages really on a pitch like this to have that kind of a technique. There you see is nearer the line of the ball and played it with soft hands. A bit iffy on this occasion, but it's a good way to survive the new ball.
Well, many coaches will talk about when you get onto that line and your right eye is over off stump. Anything outside of that, you know it's going to be outside off stump. He may have said, well, should I have played at that? But this is what happens. It's a hard new ball. You've got some quality bowling coming at you. There, as you say, Ramesh, that's a classic example of getting beautifully behind it. If you're in doubt, I've always felt, rather play at it. Don't have doubt creep into your mind. Should I, shouldn't I? And it's never an easy job. This is one of the tougher jobs. Certainly in cricket, never mind all sport. You do need a bit of luck to go your way on occasions. And it's an interesting little challenge, this, because you have a guy like Rabada trying to find that in-between length. He's got the ball to find the outside edge. That's been a good shot, the one coming back. We know he's able to do that. Timing not quite there. And then there was a moment of doubt. Hasn't bowled a short ball yet. Often you'd see him by now. So he's thinking right now, my best chance of using this new ball is getting it up there. Just one. Just get one in. One to each of them. Perhaps he's thinking they're expecting it, so I'll just keep working away outside or stump there.
19 without a wicket.
Bit of spin into proceedings now. Now this will be quite interesting because Maharaj has obviously had that issue with his side and had to go off for scans yesterday. In fact, I think it was the day before, and then he bowled what they think was about 15 overs yesterday in a practice environment, and they wanted to see how he bounced back this morning. So clearly things are okay. I'm just going to see if there's any turn first up on this surface. He's not someone who gives it a big rip. Short leg, also a short cover. Oh, and a wicket! Oh no! That should have been taken. That is quite extraordinary. That is pretty much regulation, and Bavuma has put that one down, Baz.
First ball, spin off the surface, hard new ball into the surface. Perfect delivery, turn, bounce, edge to slip, gone through the hands.
Can't drop those, I'm afraid. You just cannot drop it. That's regulation. My goodness. Where's Markram? Markram's got great hands. Sure, I've seen Temba Bavuma in that position actually to Maharaj or a spinner in the Test arena. Normally it's a Faf du Plessis or a Markram. Turn, look at that turn. Now, I spoke to the groundsman who's been here for 27 years before the start of play today. Here's the turn again and the edge first ball. Goodness. Wow. He'll be so upset about that. Oh! Beautifully bowled again. Groundsman said it's going to be turning later this afternoon. Baz, he got that wrong.
As did Bavuma. First ball, I don't think he expected the ball to turn. Didn't expect the ball to come to him. I think it's maybe that little bit of moisture in the pitch, the fresh pitch. So there'll obviously be something for the spinner as well. And that's on view with the very first delivery. He is getting the ball to just turn off the surface.
Markram at short leg. End of the first over, and that is a fascinating over for Maharaj. Should have picked up a wicket. 20 for none. Maharaj is one of those guys, if he gets in the action first up, he's a completely different bowler. Now, if you have a dream situation where you get a wicket in your first over, let alone your first ball, that changes your outlook on the whole thing. I'm still a bit shocked by that.
Hey, the last test match, Pakistan outfielded South Africa. They also got runs in their bottom order, got runs there.
Settle, Baz, settle. Don't get too carried away, settle down, it's early.
And those two things are almost South African. They're brilliant in the field, and normally you associate runs at the back end, bottom of the order, contributing a lot. And suddenly, here we go. Pakistan don't have to do much now because they've dropped a regulation catch. So Pakistan just need to hold on to a few catches and they'll be outfielding South Africa again.
And you can imagine, because of those catches that went down, imagine the work that the guys were putting in between the Test and Karachi, and now they would have put emphasis on the catching. Track is slow. You can see the time that the batsman's got when you're facing someone like Rabada. No bounce in the surface. It's and you can help us out here, Buzzard. This is far from a normal track as in Rawalpindi.
Yeah, normally you associate a lot of grass on the pitch, and sometimes that grass also helps with the bounce, the carry. It's very, very dry. I've never seen a Rawalpindi pitch be so dry.
Beautifully bowled.
And Pakistan did want a pitch which supported the slow bowlers, not a lot of bounce and pace in the pitch, and they've got that. It's